if you do use trekking poles and you want something equivalent in size to the Inland, but much lighter and much cheaper, then you probably want to go with the Hilleberg notch. Now, where the Hilleberg notch wins, I have to compare the notch and the Inland because they're very similar tents. The notch has the Inland beat in some aspects, and the Inland has the notch beat in others. Now the notch is much lighter, 770 grams. That's your notch. It has dual entry and exit. It's cheaper. I think it's $320 on the Tarp Tent website. That's not seam sealed, so add another $30 to seam seal it. Add $20 if you're going to have solid inner tent. Add $140 if you're going to have a solid and the mesh inner tent. Now, the notch has the dual entryways. One on this side, one on the other, and I'll go ahead and show that as well. It's got pretty high headroom. I can sit up straight in it, and there's still room to move. It uses 4 poles, or 4 pegs at the least. So you have it's a pretty smart design, as it only needs 1 trekking pole on each side. I've already done a video of the notch as well, so this is more of just a rundown of the notch, and you can kind of see it in a fresh video in comparison to all of these other ones. This, like I said, it's just 1 trekking pole, or 1 peg, I mean. Oh, there we go. It's just 1 pole, or 1 peg, and you're done. 1 there, 1 on the other side. You put your 2 so the notch has these double entry and exit ways. It's fairly easy to set up with 4 pegs and your trekking poles. It weighs 770 grams. With your trekking poles, you're at 1 kilo. The notch is just kind of something you set up, you sleep, you get up the next day, you pack it, and you go. It's a fast, light tent. But it's not made for ultimate comfort. It's not made to be big. It's not made to withstand your biggest storms. I mean, it's made to be a fast and light tent that'll get you through just about anything, as long as it's not, you're not looking for maximum comfort. But of all the tents I've shown, it does have the smallest inner tent. Now, the last tent I want to talk about, and I'm sure I'm already getting hate mail from the ultralighters, is the Hilleberg Nyack. There's a lot of disadvantages to the Hilleberg Nyack. It's heavy, 1.5 kilos in this setup, 1.7 with pegs and everything else, but I usually have it about 1.5 kilos because I use different pegs if I'm going to bring pegs at all. Yeah, I mean, it is heavy. It takes up a lot of space in your backpack, and since I use usually small backpacks up to about 40 liters, it takes a lot of room in there. So it has just a very specific use for me, and that's when I'm gonna do some weekend glamping and I want to sit up on rocks and so on. So I mean, it's a bit expensive for what I use it for. But if you're just looking for something, you know, you're making the transition from heavy, miserable to a little bit lighter weight pack, and you just got a whole shitload of money and you don't know what to do with it, then I would suggest the Nyack. I mean, that's kind of its niche. Whole lot of money, a little bit of time, and you're not walking very far. Or for a great example, bike camping, or bike touring, or kayaking, even on your what the hell's those other, the pack rafts. It's a great tent for that kind of stuff, because you don't have to be too picky about where you put it up and so on. And it's also, you know, if you're a trail runner and you're 2 people and you don't mind cramping into somebody that you're running with, and you don't use trekking poles, you know, 1.5 kilos for 2 people freestanding tent, you know, you can't really argue with that either. So of all the tents that I've shown here today, the Hilleberg Nyack is by far the biggest. I mean, yeah, this is just the biggest. Of these tents I've shown you, there are actually lightweight tents, ultralight tents that are far bigger than this. I'll go ahead and lay down. Now, since you have a tent this big, there's a very specific way that you have to lay down in it. Oh, now, if you're 2 people, if you're on the market and you can't decide between the Hilleberg Octo, because, you know, you're absolutely convinced that you have to have a Hilleberg, and you can't decide if you want to buy the Hilleberg Octo or the Hilleberg Innan. I mean, because obviously you don't care about cost and you don't care about weight, buy the Nyack, right? If you're choosing between the Innan and the Octo, buy the Nyack. And I'm serious about that, because if you're choosing between those 2, then your concern has nothing to do with weight and about size. And the Octo sucks in size and in weight. That's a very unbiased opinion of mine, expert opinion. Or don't buy the Nyack if you're looking for the ultralight solution for everything. It's just a good tent that has a very specific purpose. I mean, I use it for me and my son when I just want a freestanding tent that I'm just going to put up on rocks, and I'm going to put you know, whatever. It's just a tent I don't really care, because I know it's not going to break. It's nothing bad's going to happen. It's going to withstand anything. It's a tough, strong tent. I can easily take out the inner tent if I wanted to, but I don't need to because it's such a big tent. It's heavy. It's big. It's expensive. It's rather pointless for the ultralight market. But it's not made for the ultralight market. It's just a great tent that I think anybody on the market for the Octo should buy this instead. This is like the Octo replacer for me. The Innan is its own thing because it's an awesome single band tent. The Octo is just garbage, and then you have this one that's the same weight as the Octo and just all around better. So that's my tips in buying a an Octo. Buy the Nyack instead.